lying, gaslighting, projecting their toxic behavior onto you, belittling and blaming you for their behavior. These are some of the tactics that narcissists use to hide their true intentions and their end goal, which is to control you. Because at the very heart of a narcissist lies someone who is actually very insecure. The other end of their self-inflated sense of ego is an absolute lack of self-esteem, and they actually deeply fear that others will find out what they're really like. And so in order to avoid that, they have to do everything they can to stop somebody from leaving and to control them. So instead of enticing a partner to stay with them by being loving and kind, they coerce them with these insidious tactics. And narcissists are masters at reading people. So they spot those of us who are easy to be manipulated, who are ripe for their manipulation, who they can prey on. And that is people who have an enormous amount of empathy, who put others before ourselves, who are hungry to be loved and desperate to be wanted and needed. So they tap onto those people, and usually those people who've come from homes or environments where they have not really learnt strong boundaries. They just adapt, and instead of getting up and leaving that relationship. And narcissists are brilliant at creating this illusion of a deep connection with us when they love bomb us at first with their love. And they're brilliant at faking a perfect future together and share just enough of their vulnerable side for us to want to rescue them and take care of them. And they start to say things like, oh, finally I found the person I've been looking for so long. And they just make us feel great. They make us feel wanted and special. And then the mask slips and we get blamed for their bad behavior. And we start to become obsessed with trying to work out what's happened. It's like an emotional bait and switch. How have we gone from that beautiful, loving, caring person who knew exactly what to say when we lacked a bit of self-esteem to make us feel good, into this person that's now showing the darker side? And when I was going through this, it became an obsession that turned me into somebody I wasn't. And I started to behave in ways that I'm in some ways ashamed of today, because it wasn't who I am. And I didn't recognize myself back then. So some of the signs that you're in a narcissistic relationship are inside you. So I'm going to ask you these questions and think about your own behavior when I'm taking you through them. The first one, you're going absolutely crazy with jealousy. I was never a jealous person, but suddenly I was being jealous of other people my ex was getting attention from, maybe flirting with. I was obsessed with, wondering where he was and what he was doing. And that's just not normally me. And what you've got to understand is narcissists are brilliant at setting the scenes they want to set. So, for example, they can use a tactic called triangulation, where they bring somebody else into the equation. Now, it could be another person who they start to say to you, well, I'm becoming really good friends with this person now, and they think that you're a little bit crazy as well, and they think you're wrong when you say this about me. And they start to have this relationship that unsettles you and makes you feel a little bit unsure of or jealous of. Or they'll bring the threat of, if they fear they're losing control of you, they might bring the threat of another lover into the equation and triangulate you in that way, where you start to feel this jealousy. Instead of doing what you should do and thinking, well, I need to walk away from this abusive relationship, suddenly you're feeling jealous and starting to prove to them you're worthy of their love. So if you're starting to feel this irrational jealousy, then it could be that the narcissist in your life is manipulating it so that you feel unsettled and unsure and feel that way. Another sign to look for is if you just can't stop thinking about them. Your partner, you can't stop thinking about the relationship, and your thoughts and behavior start to border on the obsessive and can even interfere with your normal life. So checking your phone, checking your email, your social media, every 2 minutes, turning away invites from other people to go to social events that you'd probably like to go to because you're waiting for their call and they said they would call. So all of this sort of perpetually waiting or checking, your happiness depending on them sort of behavior is not unhealthy. Healthy relationships don't leave you feeling insecure or anxious. And so you need to ask yourself, if you're behaving like that, whether that sort of level of anxiety is a healthy way to behave. And another sign you're in a narcissistic relationship is that you're acting a little bit crazy and your emotions are completely out of control. You feel just so unsure from 1 minute to the next. You're walking on eggshells. You're never knowing what to expect. You're becoming unstable and irrational because you're just constantly on high alert, if you like. And you're obsessed and you do things you would never normally do to please that other person because you want them to pay attention to you. You want them to be happy. You don't want to get that dark side of them. You have no idea what's coming next and you're completely out, feeling like your life is completely out of control. That's not a healthy sign either. Healthy relationships, it's not about control, one person controlling the other. It's about equality. And there's not those intense highs and lows that leading you feeling like you're walking on eggshells. Healthy relationships are calm and stable. They don't feel like your stomach is knotted and your emotions are out of control. Another sign is you're stalking them and you're doing surveillance or tracking them. This stalking behavior, you're wanting to know what they're up to, what they're doing, why they haven't called, where are they? That really is not a healthy relationship, because if you're acting like the detective, if your happiness is totally depending on them, you need to ask yourself, is this a healthy way to behave? Because it's not. It's either because you are crazy, which you're not, or they've done whatever it is that you're paranoid or obsessed about to you before. And you're just waiting to find the evidence, when you stalk them, check up on them, looking through their phone, you're wanting to find the evidence so that you can confront them and say, look, you are doing what I suspect you of doing. So if you're with somebody who's treating you like that, is that a good relationship to be in either? I would think not. And even worse, if you've stopped talking to your friends and family particularly about the relationship. But firstly, are you starting to isolate yourself from them because you fear what the other person is going to say, or you might provoke their anger or something like that? Or you stop talking about your friends and family about the relationship because you, deep down, know what they're going to say. that this relationship is not a healthy one. It's not good for you and your being. You know, if you can't be honest with those who are closest around you and who love you and who have your best interests at heart, well then who can you be? And if you're starting to hide that sort of stuff from them, then I would really question whether you're in a narcissistic type of relationship. I probably did all of the above, and I'm not proud of some of that behavior. You know, I used to obsessively analyze everything he'd said or did, and maybe it was my behavior that made him unhappy. When I finally left him, I started obsessing with what he was doing and who he was seeing and thinking maybe he's happier without me. And it was just me after all. You know, all this behavior is not who I really was. I don't even recognize who I was then to who I am back now. It's not healthy behavior. Your happiness should never depend upon another person. And if the one you love is leaving you in a constant state of anxiety and pain, well then, and worse, if they seem to thrive off your pain and sort of manipulate you to feel more confused and unhappy and hurt, well then you need to question, what sort of relationship is this? And who is this person you're in a relationship with? You deserve better. You know, people who are healthy and create anxiety in others, they're not somebody you should be with. They're not good enough for you. So take time now to think about your relationship, but look at your own behavior and what that relationship is stirring up in you. Is it healthy? And is it really you?